the woman slapped her boyfriend's head off. But strangely the boyfriend did not die. Instead he opened his arms and walked toward the girl, and called her name as he walked. The girl was terrified and quickly grabbed a nearby stool and smashed it at her boyfriend. But the next second she realized in horror that her boyfriend's body was made entirely of plaster. And this was the story of the headless sculpture. The story began a few hours earlier. A murder happened at the school of the heroine Rumi. The victim was a teacher named Okamoto. Okamoto liked to carve headless sculptures when he was alive. But ironically, Okamoto also lost his head when he was killed. The police searched the whole school but could not find it. And after learning of Okamoto's death, Rumi acted more flustered than anyone because her boyfriend had been with Okamoto last night, and he had not come to school since the incident. So after school Rumi went to her boyfriend's house to ask what happened. But her boyfriend today seemed a bit strange. As soon as he opened the door he asked Rumi if she suspected him. Then he started confessing his love to Rumi and said a bunch of strange things. He was totally different from his usual behavior. Then he claimed that teacher Okamoto was not actually dead and was waiting for them at school. After saying that he took Rumi toward the school. Meanwhile two girls were looking for materials in the classroom. Suddenly a strange noise came from the next room. They bravely opened the door. What they saw was Okamoto's missing head, and it was pale and twisted, looking extremely horrifying. On the other side Rumi and her boyfriend also arrived at school. The boyfriend took her to the office to look for Okamoto, but as soon as they entered Rumi smelled a stench of decay, and all the sculptures that were originally here were gone. Only a female sculpture remained standing in the middle. And then the boyfriend suddenly locked the door. Then he turned his back to Rumi and took off his mask. At that moment the boyfriend looked like a corpse. They heard his voice but his mouth did not move at all. Then the boyfriend pulled the cloth off the sculpture, and stuck on it was exactly Okamoto's head. The boyfriend took the head off and threw it on the ground, and said that only Rumi's head was worthy of that body. Rumi was terrified and immediately slapped her boyfriend, but unexpectedly she knocked his head off. It turned out that the boyfriend today had always been a sculpture in disguise. Then the sculpture stretched out its arms and slowly approached Rumi. Luckily Rumi was not frozen and immediately picked up a chair and swung it, and thus barely saved her own head. However, just as she picked up the keys and tried to open the door, the female sculpture behind her also came to life, holding a knife and moving closer step by step. Rumi frantically opened the door and escaped, but was blocked by a male statue. Helpless Rumi had to flee to the second floor, find a classroom and lock the door. But just when she thought she was safe, she saw the bodies of two girls lying behind her, and then a group of sculptures all seemed to come to life, all frantically fighting over the girls' heads. Soon they spotted Rumi and rushed at her like bizarre creatures. And then a headless puppet broke through the window with a knife. It reached out its big hand and said it would take Rumi's head.